Hi folks, so what we're going to be doing in this series of videos here is we're going to be creating a little Lego man. Just going to open that little file up there that I've saved previously. Take a few seconds here, and this is the guy that we're going to be modeling. Just bring it in here. Okay, so there we go. This is going to be what we're creating in this series of videos, and in the first video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be modeling the bottom half of it, then working up to the top half and finishing off with the head and the hands. Okay, that's what's going to happen. In the first video though, we're going to start here, just come all the way up. We're going to be obviously starting off with a blank screen, and we're going to be modeling it down as far as this stage. Okay, making the legs and this portion here. In the second video, we're going to be making, I think it's just up as far as there. Okay, that portion of the body. And then finally to finish off, we're going to do the hands and the head. And what we're going to be doing is using what's called a multi-body approach, where we make it all in the one part, okay, the one part file, and then we can export the individual parts for the head, the body, the arms, the legs, and so forth afterwards, because we're going to be using a multi-body approach. Lots of time in Solidworks, previously people would have made all the parts separately and brought them all into an assembly. We're going to essentially do that, okay, but all in the one file. So to start off there, I'm going to close this down now. That's what we're going to create at the end of this series of videos. So we're going to start off by closing this down. We're going to start from scratch. Okay, so obviously hover up here, SolidWorks, click on File, click on New, and click on Part, and click on OK. So File, New, make sure Part is selected, click OK. That will bring us into the modeling screen. As always in the modeling screen, I'd always have a little look down here on the bottom right. MMGS, you want to make sure that we're working in millimeters, so make sure MMGS is there. It should already be automatically selected for you. So we're going to start off by modeling on the front plane. Okay, so to do that, I click on front plane and I click sketch in this little sketch icon box that pops up here. Straight away, that's going to bring us into a sketch window for the front plane. You'll always know when you're in a sketch because up here in the top right, you've got these two little icons there. X will obviously delete it. This one here will exit your sketch. Now we're going to start off in our sketch. We're going to go to our sketch tab, click on this. Okay, if it's not already active for you, click on it here. You can activate it and deactivate it. Now, I want to start off with a line, but specifically a center line. So click the down arrow here beside it, and I'm going to select center line. Okay, now starting at the origin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over the origin, click, I'm going to drag down, and click again. To deactivate the tool, okay, that's the only line I want. To deactivate the tool, press the escape key, which is the top left-hand button on your keyboard, ESC. Okay, and there is my line. Now that line, I want that line to be 10 millimeters long. So I go to my sketch tab, select Smart Dimension. Now in my dimension, I'm going to click on the line, drag out, click once again, press 10, enter. That line is now 10 millimeters long from the origin down to there. Now the next task I'm going to do is I'm going to select the sketch tab. I'm going to go to a line this time, once again, only this time select a normal line, not a center line, a normal line. Okay, now starting at the origin once again, make sure when you hover over it, it goes orange, little orange dot there. Click once, drag out, don't worry about the dimensions for a second. Make sure it's a horizontal line you do. Click, drag down, vertically down, click, horizontally across, not all the way to the start, about here, click, drag down to here, click, you can see it's mapping onto this guy, and click, and press escape to deactivate. So that's the line, horizontal, down, horizontally across, down, and back in. Now we're going to apply some dimensions to that. So sketch, smart dimension, this line here, I want it to be, just checking my notes here, 8 millimeters long. I want this line, click on the line, drag out. I want this to be 2 millimeters long. So we're in the Smart Dimension tool. This line here, okay, I'm actually not going to dimension that one, apologies. I'm going to dimension this one. So this one right here. Click on this line, drag down, and I want that line there to be 0.75 millimeters. Okay, and now what you'll see is our sketch has gone from blue to black. It is fully defined. Now I want to essentially do the exact same sketch there on the opposite side. Little step that I can do there now is mirror. So I'm going to go back into my sketch tool, okay, to my sketch tab, select mirror entities, And now what it's going to ask me in this blue box over here, entities to mirror, I want to select the lines I want to copy. So I'm going to select this one. You can see it goes in, this one, this one, this one. And I might have to zoom in here and select this one. So all my lines are after being populated in there. Now in this box, I select the box. It's asking me to mirror it about. What line do I want to copy it about? I want to select this line here in the middle. There we go. You can see the blue outline or the yellow outline has come in. When I'm happy with that, I accept it with the green arrow here, or you can select it over here. Click. And there we have it. There is our sketch. Now with that sketch, what I want to do is I want to convert that into a 3D shape. So I go to my features, select extrude boss base. Okay, and straight away you can see here it's bringing me into a 3D window. Now at the moment that is set to 10 millimeters width. It's coming out 10 millimeters from there. A couple of ways you can change it. You can grab the arrow, click on it and hold, and you can pull it in and out. You can also go out the other way. I'd advise you to stay in this direction. Or alternatively, just come over here and change it over here. The distance we want to set it out to be is 8 millimeters. So just make sure, select that, delete it, press 8, and then click anywhere on the screen. It should change, and then click on the green arrow to accept. And there is the first part of our object done. Okay, now what I'm going to do there is I'm going to rename that. So if I click on it here, and I'm going to press F2 on my keyboard, which is up at the very top, 2 buttons in from escape, ESC, press F2, straight away I'm going to rename that. I'm going to leave it as boss extrude, but at the very start, I'm going to say pants top. Okay. There we go, pants top, boss extrude. The reason I've actually just renamed that is because when this area gets more busy here and it gets more populated, I can come back and find it quite quickly. Okay, so now the next little bit I want to work on is I want to get a little curve on this little section in here. So to get a curve, I'm actually going to go to my features and I'm going to select a fillet. So make sure in the drop down arrow you select fillet and not chamfer. Fillet. Okay, now that I'm in my fillet window, in my fillet parameters box here, I'm going to set this distance to 4 millimeters. Click on 4, press enter. Now, very important, I'm going to come to my object, pressing down on the wheel and the mouse to rotate it around. I'm going to select this edge right here. Once I select that, you can see what's after happening is a little curve is coming in. I'm going to rotate around, and I'm going to select this one. With the 2 of those selected, you can see here, that's the fillet I want. I'm going to accept that with the green arrow. And there we go. I'm after rounding my edges. So that was the second part of that we had to complete. Now what we're going to be moving on to is adding on a little, I suppose, extension parts here where we're going to basically attach on the legs. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start by sketching on the right plane. What you'll notice is our right plane is actually in the middle of our object, which is really helpful to us here. And that's how I took a little bit of design consideration in how I was modeling the first part by starting on the origin that this guy here, if I just select this face here and that face and so on, I'll actually deselect that one, that guy there is right in the middle of our right plane. So I want to start sketching the right plane, so I'm going to select right plane and sketch. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring me into a side view. Now I'm going to go to my sketch tools. I'm going to start off by doing a circle. Okay, select sketch tool circle. Now if I hover over this guy, hover over the arc, okay, you can see the arc there. You can see it's prompting me to center point right here. Okay, sometimes if you don't hover over it, you might have to find that, but I can hover over it there. It'll show me where the center is, and if I click anywhere around there on the center, it'll give me the exact center that I want. Okay, so I want to draw a circle about that big. Okay, so just repeat that again. Sketch tools, circle, make sure you have circle and not perimeter circle selected, and then rather than trying to find it in here, you can see it's not coming up. If I hover over the arc, the center will come up, and once I hover over the center point there, click, there we have it. And now I'm going to click into the space here. There's my circle. Now I want to go to a smart dimension, sketch, smart dimension, and for the dimension for this circle, I'm going to click on the edge of the circle, the perimeter, drag out, click again. I want the diameter of that to be 2. And there we go. Very easy. You can see the sketch. It's in the middle of our object. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to extrude that out. Okay, so you can see there, it's in the middle of our object. So I'm going to go to my features, and I want to go to extrude boss base. Now, very important, I don't want it to just go in one direction, I want it to go both ways. So instead of saying blind here, we're going to actually say mid-plane. And that means it's going to go this distance out equally on this side as well. And the distance I want to set it to be is, just checking my dimensions here, I'm going to set it to 10 millimeters. Okay, and there we have it. There's our 10 millimeters. Click on the green arrow to accept. And there is part of our object, okay? That is the first part, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on where it says Boss Extrude 2, click on this, press F2 again, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to say leg supports. And there we have it. Rename that feature as well. Okay, so there's my leg supports. Obviously they're the bits then. Once I select this guy, I can come back and find them. That's where they are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach on the leg. So to do that, once again, I'm going to start by my sketching on the right plane. Okay, really easy here. So we're going to go right plane, sketch. So once again, we're going to start on the right plane. Remember, the right plane is in the middle of the object. Okay, just making sure I'm looking directly at that. Now, from the right plane, I'm going to start a sketch. So go up to my sketch tab. I'm going to start with a circle. Okay, and once again, I'm going to select right in here. So right in there, center point, click, drag out. I want this circle to be the exact same as this circle here. That edge that's running around there. Okay, so when I just map onto it, you can see when I map onto it, it goes a little bit orange. Click. There we go. Press escape to deactivate your tool, top left button on your keyboard. Okay, we're back at the cursor now. There's my circle. You can see here it's in the middle of my object. Don't worry about that. Just go back, press space bar. Click on the right object there. We'll zoom out a little bit. Now, what I want to do now is I'm going to go to my sketch tab and grab a line. Now, with the line, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start right here on, see the little node here, which is basically in line with the center point. You come all the way across. There's a little node there. I want to start on that. Not down here. Make sure you're on this little node here, which is essentially like the 3 o'clock position on the clock. Okay, I'm going to click, drag out, and I want to do a vertical line down. Make sure it's vertical. Click. I'm now going to do a horizontal line out. Very important. Do not match up with this. You want to go further than this node. So you can see how it's in line with it. I want to go a little bit further out. Click, drag up to about here. Click, drag in. Make sure this time we don't map onto it. We go a little bit further in than we need. Don't leave it out. Make sure we go in a little bit. Click. And now we're going to go straight up. And when it hits the outside of the circle in a vertical position, click. Press escape to deactivate your tool. Top left button on your keyboard. And that's our sketch. Okay, you can see the sketch there in 3D. I'll just zoom in there, you can see it. Now what we want to do is we want to tidy that up a bit with a couple of dimensions. So if I click on sketch, smart dimension, I want this line here to be, just checking my distances here. Actually, I don't want this line specifically. I'm actually going to click on this line. And then after clicking on this top line here, I'm going to click on this line and I can get the distance between them. So to do that again, just to show you there, with your smart dimension tool selected, sketch smart dimension, click on this top line, this one, then come down and click on the base, drag out, and you can get a dimension between 2, click into the open space, and I want to change that to be 18. Okay, you can see the little adjustments. The baseline, I want this to be 10. Just click on the line, drag down, 10. Okay, the height of this little bit here, essentially where the toe is, I want that to be 2. And the bit here, this bit coming in, I want this to be, click and drag up, 3. Okay, now what we have here, last little bit, we're just going to go into our sketch tab and come down here to this tool here, which is called a sketch fillet. Just make sure you click on sketch fillet and not sketch chamfer. Okay, now the distance here, fillet parameters, I want to change this. I don't want it to be 10, I want that just to be 1, and press enter. Now, entities to fillet, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to click on this little corner point, and you can see the little arc coming in there. Click on the corner, there we go, little yellow symbol comes up, click on green to accept. There we go, that's what we have. Now the last thing we're going to do, just to tidy this up one final bit, I'm going to click on the X on sketch fillet, I'm done with that. I'm going to go to my sketch tools, new tool here, trim entities. If I select this, just click on this, not the down arrow, just click on this. Now what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this line in here, from this node here, all the way around to this point. And to do that, what you can do is if you hold down your left click mouse button, you can see when power trim is selected. If I hold down the left click button on my mouse, you can see a little line is coming on my screen there. What I want to do is I want to drag a line to cut this line here. So I'm going to start here, I'm going to drag it up, you can see the line, and once I go through the line, it's after getting rid of that line there. Okay, it looks like it's still there, but that's previously on the object already. So we just got rid of that line right there. So just to do that again, so you can see the line is still there. Look, if we look at the circle, it's a full circle now. But if I go to my sketch tool, trim, click, drag down, the line is now gone. And you can see here, once I select the circle, I've only got this portion of the circle left. And if I turn around to my 3D view, I'm going to tick on the green arrow for trim. Now I'm done with that. There's my sketch. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create the first leg. So to create the first leg, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go features, and we're going to go extrude boss base. Now what you'll notice, once again, straight away it's after going left and right. That's because previously, the time I used it, I had it set at mid-plane, so I'm just going to change this back to blind. And you'll see here, the leg is right in the middle of our object. It's after kind of cutting in there. Okay, now I don't exactly want it to do that, because when I do the leg on the opposite side, I don't want the legs to touch. There should be a tiny little gap between them. So what I want to do create that gap is, okay, lots of people now might have created a plane previously. What we're going to do is, up here where it says from, where it says sketch plane, we're actually going to go click on this arrow. I'm going to click on offset. Now, the offset distance, we're going to change this offset distance, and I have it written down here on my sheet. It is 0.25. So 0.25. And watch what happens here when I click on the space. See that little gap? It's after jumping out there. Okay, I'll just change it back to 0 again. Okay, I'll just change it back to 0. I don't think I can. Sorry, I'll go back to sketch plane. There we go. Now, you can see here, watch this little space. I go here to offset, and the distance here is 0.25. See how it jumped out. Now, all that means is, it's still doing the sketch, but instead of actually doing the sketch from the surface, there's a little gap before it starts, the 3D object. And that little gap is 0.25. Now, the leg is far too wide there. You can see it's too wide for the body. I only want it to be out as far as here. So based on my dimensions, I'm going to leave it at blind, but this time I'm going to change this distance of 10 to 7.75. There we go. That's matching up perfectly there. Now, the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to untick this merge result box, really important. The reason I'm going to untick that is because I do not want this part to be, I want this part, the leg part, to be separate from this body here. Imagine I'm making it, obviously, and I was assembling it in a workshop, the leg would assemble in by sticking onto this part here. So I'm going to untick this merge result box. When I untick that and accept the green arrow, okay, you'll notice there's kind of like, it's kind of conflicting because the object is intersecting with the other object. You can see this kind of like dashed line there. Okay, but what's important to note is we have two solid bodies now. We have this part. Okay, if I right click on this and then click on isolate, we've got this part on its own. If I exit my isolate, and if I right click on this one and go isolate, I've now got this part on its own. Okay, they are two separate parts. I have now got two solid bodies. Now, just to go back in, if I was to edit that leg, you can see it here. See the way it's kind of overlapping? If I was to click on this and edit feature, and I tick the merge result box, watch what happens to my solid bodies. It'll go back to 1. It's actually telling me I'm only able to create this feature because it will result in 0 thickness geometry. That's because, sorry, I started from the offset, but if I go to my sketch plane, I'll just change this again and see if does that work. It's actually not working. So the way I was doing it was correct. So I untick the merge results. I'm going to do it from the offset. There we go, leave it like that. And there we have it. Okay, so apologies, I was trying to show you that there. But here's my two solid bodies. I have one here for this part, and I've got another one down here for the leg. Now, what I want to do is I want to create the leg on the opposite side. Now, a lot of people here might go to our features and mirror, but in this case, I don't think the mirror actually works. We'll give it a go. So if we go features and mirror, for anyone who's watching this, you don't have to do this now. Click on mirror. The mirror face plane we're going to select is the right plane. So I click this by clicking on the arrow here. Select the right plane, because that's the one in the middle. And I essentially want to take this leg and put it on the opposite side. And what I'm going to do is features to mirror, boss extrude. And if I click on the green arrow, we'll see if there's anything. Yeah, here, see? It says only merging features may be patterned. But if you remember, I unticked the merge result box. So if appropriate, make a pattern of bodies instead. So that's what we're going to do. So that doesn't work. So what we're going to do here now is we're actually just going to do a linear pattern. So in features, there's another option here where we have linear pattern. Sometimes you have circular pattern, different ones. The one we're going to select, in my features, we're going to come over here and we're going to select linear pattern. Now, for direction 1, we're going to select, we want the object just to move left to right, like this. So I'm going to select this line here. If I click on that, that's the direction I want. Now, the distance that I want here, I'm just going to check these because I have them written down. Edge 1, the distance I want here is to be 8.25, going for my measurements. Okay, I want 2 as the spacing. Now, in this area down here, in the features and faces, I'm going to select this guy here. Literally, just click on it here again and I'll delete that. All I have to do is select him. Any part of him, select him. And that's in this box. And you can see here what's after happening is the leg is after mirroring out, so not mirroring out, apologies, but pattern out to the right in 2, because you have 1, this is the second one. Now it's obviously going the wrong way. So how do I flip that? I can easily come back here, this little arrow here, click on this, and there we have it. And there is my leg on the opposite side. Now, just going to check this here, all bodies, I'm happy with that. Select the bodies, feature scope, yeah, that's all fine. I'm going to click on the green arrow to accept. And there we have it. There's our second leg, okay, where we just did a mirror pattern. Now, really quickly, going to go back into my boss extrude tree, click on it, press F2. At the start, I'm going to go leg 1, boss extrude, and for L pattern 1, I'm going to rename that as well. And at the very start, I'm going to say leg 2. And OCD kicking in, capital L, there we go. Okay, so you can see here if I want to find leg 2, that's a kind of a linear pattern off of leg 1. And there is leg 1, okay? And you can see here now, we've got 3 solid bodies. I've got the leg support, got leg 1, and leg 2. So I've now got 3 separate bodies. Okay, so what we want to do now, the last bit before we get onto the top portion, we want to create the little kind of attachment here where the body would click onto. So to start that there, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little sketch on this surface. So to do a sketch on that surface, I'm going to click the surface, and I'm going to click sketch. Okay, next little step, we're going to go to our sketch icon, we're going to select the line one, drop down arrow and a center line. Now, I want to start on the origin, this point right here, very important. I'm going to click there, I'm going to do a line vertically down until it gets to this point here. Press escape, top left button on your keyboard to deactivate. There's my line, it's right in the middle of my top surface there as you can see. Okay, to get back to it, press spacebar and I can click on this box and I'm looking straight down top of it. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go to my sketch tool. And this time I'm going to select a new one here, polygon. Okay, and I'm going to do a hexagon. So once I select polygon, I can select the number of sides, okay, the parameters. If I want a pentagon, I can do 1 down to 5. If I want an octagon, couple up to 8. I want a hexagon, so I'm doing 6. And what I'm going to do is, when I do it, I'm going to do it using an inscribed circle. So, roughly around here, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter what way you draw it, I'm going to do it at a slight angle, and you'll see what I do in a second. I'm going to click here. There we go. There is my hexagon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of dimensions to it. So, press escape there to deactivate the tool. In Sketch, Smart Dimension, I'm going to select the circle on the inside, click, drag out, click. I want the diameter of that circle, I'm just going to check my dimensions here, and I want the diameter of that to be 5. Okay, you can see it's after getting bigger. Next thing I want to do, I want a dimension from this center point of the circle to this line. So select the center point, then select the line. I can get a distance between them. I want that distance there to be 4. Now I want to select this center point, this line, and I want the distance from the center point to there to also be 4. Now you'll see there it's after going right into the middle of my object. The last thing I'm going to do, okay, I want it to be a little bit more, how do I put it? Sorry, this line here at the bottom, I want it to be horizontal. So to do that, if you click on the line, okay, a little window will open up over here where it's saying relations. I'm going to click on this one that says horizontal, and now it's after mapping horizontal. And there we go. You can see the sketch now has gone from blue to black. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit that sketch. So I click on this little blue icon. The sketch is still there, but it's just gone grey. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do another sketch above that, just of a circle. And we're going to do that on a plane. So to bring in a plane, we're going to go to our features. We're going to go to reference geometry and select plane. Now, the plane reference, the first reference, I'm just going to select this face, and you can see a new plane comes in. Now the distance, I don't want it to be that high. I'm going to set my distance here, and the distance for my plane, I'm just checking there, is, how high is my plane? 4 millimeters. So I'll set that to 4, and the plane is a lot closer now, and I'm happy with that. Click on the green arrow to accept. There we go. So on that plane, I now want to draw. So if I select the plane and select sketch, I'm now drawing on plane 1, it's called. This time I'm going to do a circle. So in my sketch tab, circle, I'm going to start it right here, because that's my little guide point. I'm going to do a circle there like that, smart dimension, and I want that circle to be 3, diameter 3. And there we go. You can see it's fully defined. Once again, I'm going to exit my sketch. Okay, now what we have here is I'm actually going to hide the plane. To do that, where it says plane 1, if you click on it and click hide, okay, now what we have here is with 2 sketches. I've got a hexagon and I've got a circle. What I want to do is, they're obviously 2 different shapes. I want to join them. So to join them, we're going to use something called the loft tool. So if I go over to my features, what I want to do is this one here called lofted boss base. So if I select that, it's going to ask me for profiles. They're essentially my sketches. So for my profile 1, I'm going to select any part of this. I'm going to select right here at this point. And now for the second profile, I'm going to select the circle. And there we go. And you can see what it's going to do is it's going to join them, and you can see it's going from a hexagon into a circle at the top. And all I'm going to do there now is click on the green arrow to accept. Okay, and now very important there, that's after merging with this. We're still at 3 solid bodies, so that's after merging with this guy here. Okay, now I need that again on the opposite side over here. So really easy, because I merged it this time, we can mirror it over. So if I go to my features and I go to mirror, now my mirror plane is going to be the right plane, which is going through the middle of the object. And then my features to mirror, I'm going to select the loft. And you can see there, when I selected it from here, or I could have selected it here, it comes in on the right hand side, click on the green arrow to accept. And there we have it. And we're nearly done with this first video now. Okay, we've almost the bottom portion fully completed. All we're going to do is add on maybe little holes here where usually the Lego man would attach on. And we're also going to add in holes in here for the legs, where obviously that should be joined in, because we didn't create those yet. Even though it's obviously inside there, if I go into this view here, you can see it's going inside the object, but really I haven't actually created the holes for those to be pushed through yet. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use called an indent tool. Select the wrong one, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an indent tool for the legs. So if I come up here to my search commands, okay, usually you can find it in there. If you click on this little box, now make sure it's saying commands, okay, so you can change that. You click the drop down arrow, and if yours is saying Solidworks help, things like that, all you can do is click on the drop down arrow, select commands, and the little icon will come there. Now in commands, I'm going to type in indent, really handy tool, I-N-D-E-N-T. Okay, and you can see it comes up here. So when I select indent, the indent window will come in here. Now, the target body is the body I want to create the hole in. So which body do I want to create the hole in? I want to create it in the legs. So I'm going to literally, in the target body, I'm going to select one of the legs. Click. Now, what I want to do is the tool body. Now that's a different. The tool is the cutting tool. Now, if you remember, this guy here, this guy, okay, is the bit where the two circular bits were poking out of, obviously where the legs are inserted onto. So I'm going to select this guy. Now that I've selected that, just loading there, apologies, just took a few seconds there. So my target body is the leg, my tool body is this surface. I'm going to select cut, and watch what you'll see will happen in here is, because the bit that's cutting into it, okay, where it's cutting into it there, it's going to cut there. There we go, and you can see it's cutting because remember it was overlapping here, and you can see where it's cutting in there. What's going to happen is after selecting cut, I'm going to click on the green arrow to accept, and there we go. And what you'll see here now on this side, you'll see that kind of dashed line that's still there on this side, it's gone from this side. So you'll see what happens now in a second when I isolate those. I'm going to repeat that once more. Okay, so to repeat that, in my indent tool, click on the arrow, click on indent. This time I'm going to do it for this leg. Target body is the leg, my tool body is this guy. Just taking a few seconds for the computer to catch up with me. There we go. Click on cut. You can see the region it's cutting because that's where they're intersecting. Click on the green arrow to accept. Now that's looking a lot tidier all of a sudden. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rename my loft. Click on this, press F2. For the loft, I'm just going to call that body support, because that's where the body is going to attach onto. I'll leave the mirror as a rename, that's absolutely fine, and the indents, they're absolutely fine as well. Okay, actually I will rename indent 1. I'll just say leg 1 indent, and I will rename it, this one as well, I'll do it while I'm at it. Leg 2 indent, OCD. There we go. So leg 1, leg 2 done. Now, if I isolate those, we're nearly finished the first video. If I right click on any one of those and I isolate it, what you'll see now is the hole has been created inside it. And you can even see the part where obviously the first part of the body was cutting into it, thereafter kind of cutting that little bit away as well. And we've now got a hole inside it where we hadn't previously had that before. Okay, if I go into this guy, right click and isolate, okay, you can see nothing has happened to that guy because this was my tool. This was the piece where it was cutting into the other one and it removed material from the legs. Okay, likewise in this guy, if I isolate again, you can see we've got a hole on this side as well. Okay, so there we have it, guys. That there is the first video tutorial done on the Lego man. So what I would actually get you to do at this stage then is obviously save your progress. So, excuse me, in this case, I'm just going to go File, Save As. You might have a folder saved onto your desktop screen. I'm going to save it into a 50-year folder, excuse me, there that I'm currently using. I'll make a folder in there by right-clicking into the blank space. I'm going to say New Folder. I'm going to say Lego Man. Click in there. And I'm just going to save this as Master Copy, because that's essentially where I'm going to multiply all the parts out from using the multi-body approach. So Master Copy, and I'll say Lego Man. And click Save. And that's after changing the name up here. Okay, so there you have it, guys. That there is the first part of your video, obviously where we've created the bottom portion of the Lego man. I hope you found that helpful.